In many rural areas across China, the local matchmaking scene is evolving into a truly surreal picture. Women showing up to blind dates while pregnant, demanding that their new husbands raise another man's child, or even bringing a paralyzed ex-husband along to matchmake. These scenarios, which sound like bizarre TV show scripts, are playing out in real life across rural Chinese matchmaking events. From astronomical bride prices reaching nearly 40,000 to the desperate compromise of marrying anyone as long as she is female, tens of millions of single men in rural China find themselves trapped in a high-pressure marriage game. What has driven China's rural marriage market to such an extreme imbalance? And what kind of struggle are the young Chinese men pushed to the margins of this market enduring?
河北农村相亲现场
This viral video, documented by Chinese creator Running Zhao He, captures a controversial blind date that took place in rural Hebei, China. On the day of the date, the man, who works as a food delivery driver, traveled over 60 miles to meet his potential partner. Upon meeting her, he was initially impressed by her tall stature and fair complexion. Feeling hopeful about the match, once seated inside, he initiated small talk by asking where she worked, and she mentioned she was employed locally in nearby Beiding. When the conversation turned to marriage expectations, the woman first verified that the man owned a home. She then casually dropped a major bombshell. She was already pregnant, a crucial detail the matchmaker had completely failed to mention beforehand. Stunned, the man listened as she explained her situation. The biological father had fled and cut off all contact after his family opposed their relationship. She added that doctors warned her that due to her unique physical condition, an abortion would likely leave her unable to conceive again. So she chose to keep the baby. She even noted that an informal check indicated she was carrying a boy, framing it as a positive for continuing the family line. The discussion then shifted to their respective finances. The woman claimed she earned between 1,400 and 2,800 per month in Beiding, while the man candidly shared that he makes around 800 to 1,000 per month. He added that he owns a house in his village and drives an affordable commuter car worth roughly 1,400 to 2,800. Following this financial exchange, the woman laid out her main requirement. Despite being pregnant, she was asking for a modest bride price of 26,000. She justified this by pointing out that her close friends received between 39,000 and 53,000, so her demand was comparatively low, adding that she just wanted an honest, down-to-earth man to settle down with. Overwhelmed, the man stepped outside under the pretense of needing time to think. Speaking to the camera, he admitted the situation was far too complicated. Taking advantage of the moment, he also plugged a second-hand tech platform, sharing his experience buying budget-friendly pre-owned smartphones. When he returned inside, the woman further detailed her future plans. She announced that she intended to quit working entirely after giving birth, expecting him to fully support both her and the child. She bluntly told him that his monthly income of 800 to 1,000 wasn't enough to raise a family, admitting that her primary goal in matchmaking was to secure a partner in a better financial position to guarantee stability. When the man asked if she could have children in the future, she confirmed that doctors considered another pregnancy unlikely, meaning this child would be his only option. She then urged him to finalize the marriage quickly before her bump became noticeable, repeatedly asking him not to spread the word about her pregnancy. Recognizing that their expectations were completely incompatible, the man plainly told her that given her conditions, finding someone willing would be nearly impossible, and he excused himself. Before he left, the woman even offered to introduce him to her unmarried childhood friend, which he promptly declined. The video closes with the cameraman and crew reflecting on the scene, remarking that while the woman was physically attractive, her high financial demands while pregnant left everyone baffled. In China's rural matchmaking market, traditional standards for choosing a spouse are rapidly unraveling. At one matchmaking meeting, a woman born in the 2000s calmly informed her suitor that she was already pregnant. She asked for no bride price or gold jewelry, with just one condition: the man must accept and raise the child, who is not biologically his. Remarkably, faced with such a demand, some young men in rural China, having faced repeated rejections in the marriage market, find their boundaries swaying, showing signs of resignation and compromise in the face of harsh reality. Just starting a family is enough, or becoming a stepfather right away is still better than staying single forever. This mindset, which seems incomprehensible to outsiders, is by no means an isolated case among bachelor groups in parts of rural China. Under the dual pressure of traditional family lineage expectations and relentless parental urging, personal dignity and conventional marriage values are constantly being squeezed.
大家帮我看一下哦，就我家里的
I filmed this video because I want to get everyone's honest take on whether a guy with my home conditions still has a chance at finding a wife. We have a second-hand car at home, though it isn't worth very much. Here is our bathroom. It doesn't have a solid ceiling above it, so taking a shower in the winter might be a bit chilly, but it's pretty spacious in terms of length and width. This is our kitchen. I actually tiled all the walls myself, so this is roughly how it turned out. Over here is the living room, very plain and simple. I did all the wall puttying myself as well. In total, our house has 4 bedrooms. This one is my dad's. There's a vacant guest room that no one is currently using. This one is my room, which comes with its own private bathroom and 2 windows for good ventilation. And the last one is my mom's room. She's resting right now, so I won't go in to shoot. Up here is our rooftop, and right behind the house, we have a few loquat trees planted. So that's pretty much my family's situation. What do you all think with conditions like mine? Do I still have a shot at getting married? Behind these unusual cases lie stark demographic realities in China. Influenced by decades of traditional son preference and past historical factors, the gender ratio among rural Chinese of marriageable age is severely imbalanced. Data shows that in the 20 to 24 age group, the male-to-female ratio exceeds 123 to 100. Among rural Chinese men over the age of 30, the proportion of unmarried individuals has surpassed 10% in many villages, reaching as high as 1/3 in the most severely affected areas. As vast numbers of young rural Chinese women move to cities through education and employment, settling down in urban centers, the pool of eligible women in rural communities has shrunk dramatically. This extreme supply-demand mismatch grants remaining women immense bargaining power in the rural marriage market, creating fertile ground for demands that far exceed traditional norms. This viral video captures a blind date in rural Shandong, China, where a food delivery driver meets a prospective partner, only to walk away after learning about her pregnancy and several concerning details. Once seated, the woman offers him a cigarette. He politely declines, to which she replies that she can't smoke right now anyway, telling him not to be shy. Right at the start, she directly reveals that she is currently pregnant. Taken aback, the man questions why the matchmaker failed to mention this beforehand, but she simply responds that this is her current situation. The two then exchange basic background details. When asked about her age, she reveals she was born in 2001, making her somewhat younger than him. As for her job, she shares that she works at a pool hall in Jinan. When he asks about her expectations for a partner, she claims she has few demands, no bride price and no customary gold jewelry, asking only that he treat the unborn child well. Midway through their conversation, the woman gets up to pour him some water. He insists he isn't thirsty. And during the quick back and forth, a box labeled Kaining drops out of her belongings. Curious, he asks what it is. She first claims it belongs to her brother. Suspicious, since he heard she only has a sister, he presses further, prompting her to change her story and say it belongs to her sworn brother. In reality, Kaining is an antihypertensive medication that is strictly contraindicated for pregnant women, an alarming contradiction that raises immediate red flags for the man. She then asks for his impression of her, and he politely compliments her looks. She paints a picture of their prospective life together, promising that if they marry, he can focus solely on work while she handles all the housework and childcare. However, when she asks about his finances, he candidly admits that as a delivery rider, his income fluctuates, earning over 1,400 in good months, but only around 400 to 550 when business is slow. She expresses disappointment at his lower earnings and lack of a vehicle, but quickly adds that she owns 2 luxury cars, a Mercedes-Benz and a BMW, which he would be free to drive. Having heard enough, the man decides it is time to leave, stating he has other matters to attend to. She suggests exchanging contact information, but he excuses himself by saying his phone is acting up, plainly stating that they are not a good match before making his exit. Beyond skewed demographics, Astronomical bride prices and mandatory financial benchmarks present another overwhelming barrier for rural Chinese families. In parts of central, western, and northern rural China, the cost of securing a marriage including bride prices ranging from 21,000 to 39,000. Along with requirements to purchase an apartment and a car in local county seats often equals nearly a decade of net income for an average farming household. To help their sons secure a bride, many rural Chinese parents empty their life savings and even take on tens of thousands of dollars in debt. In many regions, marriage is no longer an organic evolution of romance, but has turned into a transaction of asset transfers and heavy debt burdens. Fueling this marriage crisis is the lucrative matchmaker economy. Regardless of how mismatched the couple may be or how slim the chances of success are, matchmakers charge introduction fees ranging from 15 to over 50 simply for setting up a meeting. Driven by these financial incentives, matchmakers frequently present highly controversial matchmaking prospects to single rural men desperate to find a partner. Confronted with crippling bride prices, a distorted market, and non-stop pressure to get married, an increasing number of young men in rural China are forced to make an agonizing choice between going into debt to marry or giving up entirely to remain single. The strange phenomena in China's rural matchmaking scene are more than just tragic stories of individual families. They reflect deeper social pains stemming from rapid economic shifts and regional imbalances. When marriage becomes thoroughly capitalized and reduced to bargaining chips, and when tens of millions of single men in rural China struggle between dignity and reality, it impacts not only their personal happiness, but also the future of China's rural society. How to eliminate exorbitant bride prices while addressing the survival challenges and demographic imbalances facing rural youth remains an urgent question for Chinese society today.